Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Gig Harbor City Council meeting of Monday, March 13th, 2023. The time is 5:30 p.m. I will do a roll call from my far left. Councilmember Wook.
Here.
Councilmember Storsett.
Here.
Councilmember Rodenberg is online.
Here.
Councilmember Likens. Here. Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Barber.
Here.
Great. And if you would all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic Thank you so much. Before we begin this council meeting, we would like to recognize that we are gathered on not only the ancestral and traditional lands of the Squabosh Band of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians, but also on the site of one of the largest and longest standing historic villages of their people, the original inhabitants of the Gig Harbor area. Under changes to the agenda tonight, in case you all have an older version from earlier today, what was consent agenda number 3 regarding flash vote is now moved to new business 1. And what was new business 1, regarding the Edwards Drive plat, is now moved to the consent agenda. Any other changes to the agenda tonight from council? Okay, excuse me, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, council. We are honored to have a presentation this evening called Make Gig Harbor Green from Drew Dabbs of Lighthouse Christian School. He's a student there, and he would like to come forward and present something to the council. So come on up, and you can move the mic to adjust wherever you need it. And welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Drew Dabbs. I'm a student at Lighthouse Christian School. First, I would like to thank the mayor and the city council for having me here. So this presentation is a project that I completed for a class at Lighthouse Christian School called Genius Hour. This class is meant to help us develop leadership and community service skills. The purpose of my project is to present an idea that can help employ people and help keep Gig Harbor clean. Is it on?
Oh, yeah. You guys are welcome to come take pictures from the front too, if you want.
After receiving a budget, we would purchase needed cleaning supplies. Then we would hire up to 10 people to start. Next, we would find housing for workers. And last, we would make cleaning teams to spread out and clean parks and streets. I've gathered the relevant statistics and believe that a feasible plan can be achieved. As far as impact between effects of COVID on people working and the growing amount of trash polluting our roads, parks, and cities, there's clearly a need for a program like this. An active example similar to my model is the Downtown Oklahoma City Green Team. The service is funded by the Business Improvement District. They focus on providing cleaning and safety services within the downtown neighborhoods of Oklahoma City. I learned about this program when I visited OKC last summer. Considering that there's abundant park space, challenges with litter, and people who are unemployed, this could be a great solution that solves multiple problems and has been proven beneficial in other cities. I think this would be a great addition for the city of Gig Harbor. Thank you for considering my idea. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much. Any questions from council for Drew?
Thanks.
Councilmember Martin?
Don't run away. Don't run away.
I think we had a light that wasn't.
Yeah, sorry about that. Drew, first, thank you for your presentation. What did you like about it when you saw it in Oklahoma City? What was it that you went, oh my gosh, this could
Well,
really make a difference?
Yeah, well, the streets were very clean, seemed in order, and the workers went out early in the morning and so you didn't really see him working and you just came to a clean street.
Did you have any chance to speak to some of those people? I know it would be kind of difficult sometimes
Yeah,
to
I
do
didn't.
that. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
There's one more question, Councilmember Dorset.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't let you off too easy, just present without any questions. So I was gonna ask about what you experienced there, so thank you for, I guess, for already putting it out. But since you're, as a seventh grader, I wonder, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I have been interested in architecture.
Architecture?
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, I love your idea of, what you can do for the community too, so thanks for sharing that with
Yeah.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming. Thank you. Oh, I love it. Okay, so for my mayor's report, I just wanted to, people may or may not know, we had a council retreat on Saturday here at the Civic Center. It was very productive. We went over our current strategic plan and what we've accomplished so far and what we have yet to accomplish and some new things we would like to accomplish. So it was really productive. I wanted to thank Marilyn Beard of Beard Consulting for facilitating the meeting for us. She always does a great job. We really enjoy her. So just a great time had by all. So thank you, council, for being there and participating so actively. And thank you to staff that was there to provide critical updates for us to inform our strategic plan. And we just really appreciate you guys being there as well. And we had some fun icebreakers and learned a little bit more about each other. So that was fun. So that concludes my report, and I will turn it over to our city administrator, Katrina Knudsen, for her report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Just quickly wanted to brief you on 3 personnel items. We are very excited that our new property and evidence technician has started today, Emma Pontaine. So she was busy doing HR orientation today, all the training, but we're really looking forward to her being in the department and starting to sort through the property and evidence room that was last touched by Officer Blodgett. Yes,
Welcome addition.
so very excited about
I
that.
want to see the police department do a happy dance in honor of our.
Lieutenant Wood, actually.
Oh, good. Okay. We may hold them to that.
Additionally, we have a senior accountant position or person that will be starting in that job, Corinne Jackson. She'll be starting on the 3rd of April. So we'll make sure to introduce her to you. That is it's our first time having 2 senior accountants, as our city finance department's gotten a little bit busier with the growth that we've had. So that's wonderful. Last personnel item I'd like to make you aware of is Jeremy Hammer, who was recently here presenting on short-term rentals, was the associate planner for just over a year here with us. And he's recently been promoted to senior planner. And so wanted to let council know and shout him out for all of his work that he's done in the community. Not only in long range, working on code development and some comprehensive plan amendment leading into the comp plan, but also his wonderful work in private development. The last item I'd like to talk about is the Pierce County Opioid Task Force. I talked with Dr. Chen about this. This is going to be something similar to SHAPE, whereas SHAPE focuses on affordable and attainable housing. This will focus on all Pierce County cities and the county getting together to discuss how we're going to collectively address what's going on with opioids in our community. And so that first meeting will be a summit in Puyallup on the 23rd that I will attend. Eventually, our H3 Housing Health Human Services position will attend that. They're also asking for an elected official to sit on a board. So be thinking about if that's something that you are interested in, but it's something that we will be gladly participating in, as we know that this is a priority focus for the city council. And that is it for my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Before we open up public comment, I just wanted to acknowledge our staff that's here: City Clerk Josh Stecker, our Police Chief Kelly Busey, our Public Works Director Jeff Langhelm, and then in the audience we have some staff: Community Development Director Carl DeSimas, our Finance Director Dave Rodenbach, and our HR Director Shannon Costanti. So thanks, staff, for being here. So I will now open up public comment on non-agenda items. So anything not on the agenda tonight, if there's anyone that would like to speak, You can come forward at this time. Okay, we have one guest with us tonight. If they in council chambers, if there is anyone online that is watching and would like to speak, you can press the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or *9 if you're on your phone. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public comment period on non-agenda items, and we'll go into new business item 1, which is our agreement with Flash Vote, excuse me, for survey services. The suggested motion is to move to authorize the mayor to sign the Flash Vote Services order form for an initial 3-year service term. And this report comes to us from our city clerk, Josh Stecker.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council. So I think we mentioned this to you at the retreat and in one of our study sessions, but we've been working with a company called FlashVote to bring them on as a survey provider for the city. FlashVote is a service that collects respondents for surveys that are not targeted based on the subject of the survey, but just targeted because they are representative of the city of Gig Harbor. So it's a way for us to collect information without specifically targeting groups that want to provide information. So we get some really scientifically valid results with this survey. Platform, we immediately see it being useful for things like the Urban Forest Management Plan, the Climate Action Plan, the 2024 Comp Plan update, the Crescent Creek Park Master Plan. It's a really good way for us to get information and feedback on these plans without necessarily targeting specific groups. So we don't have 100 people from the sand volleyball courts, for example, telling us what to do at the park. We can kind of filter out that and get a really good reflective sampling of what we think our residents want to see. So the agreement is $7,900 a year. It gets us 6 different surveys. We can send the surveys out really about whatever and really whenever we want to. The consultant, they are professional survey writers, so we can tell them generally what we want the questions to be, and they will work with us to make sure that the questions are scientifically valid and sound, and that we get useful answers from those questions. Any number of people can answer the survey, so once we get it out there, it's there for anybody to answer. They select and curate people that they can verify by address for locations, and that's kind of that's the sample pool that they use. So when they can verify that someone is a Gig Harbor resident or someone's in the select area that we want to survey, then they can create that as their baseline for their results. But anyone can take the survey, so we can have 100 people that we know are confirmed Gig Harbor residents that aren't signed up for the survey for any particular reason. And then we can also see the results of the 100 volleyball people that also responded. So we can compare them side by side and see what the differences are. So we're asking council today to authorize us to go into a 3-year commitment for this. Brings us a savings of $3,000 off the implementation fee and gets us started. We'll be up and rolling really by the end of this week if council approves it tonight. So happy to answer any other questions, but that's my report.
Great, thank you, Josh. Councilmember Wook.
This is really exciting. Thank you. Thanks to everybody who is making this possible. I know we're spending $7,900 for 3 years. And what fund is this coming out of?
This will come out of just the general fund. I'm not sure which department will charge it to. Might go across departments.
Okay,
May come out of the communications budget, but there's room in the budget for it.
money well spent, I think. So another question, have we thought about how we're going to get to the citizens to let them know what's going to be on the survey?
So that part comes after we get the citizens on board to respond to the survey. So what we will do at the end of this week, most likely, we have this FlashVote prepares us announcement materials. We have a custom video for the city. We'll get that out via the Gigabyte, via Facebook, via our website, and we'll just invite people to sign up. And they won't know what survey they're signing up for, or what the topics are going to be. The messaging really is, do you have 1 minute a month to spare to take a survey for Gig Harbor? And the questions could be anything. They don't know coming into it what it's going to be, which really helps us give us a really unbiased sample, I think.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Likens.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So do you have examples of cities that have used this and what they thought about, whether they liked it or not? Could you give some examples?
I don't have any specific examples with me, but the Flashbelt website has quite a number of testimonials on it, other cities that have used it. I set up our link, I was looking at our setup link this morning. And when you go in there to click in it and try to sign up as a register for Gig Harbor, it shows that there are already 599 Pierce County residents. So there are other agencies within Pierce County that are already using this. So you can kind of see the pool that they're pulling from. But they are well known in municipal communities. They're a respected company, so we don't have any concerns about that.
Great, thank you.
We can also share the website with council. I could share that out right now, and there are testimonials on their website, including from council meetings where council members, having just gone through a survey and received the scientific results, are talking about how easy it was, how much the citizens liked it, and how useful it is in their decision making.
Terrific. I think it's a great idea. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Martin.
Thank you. So Josh, you've answered a couple of the questions that I had. Just curious, if I'm a person who's going to be taking the survey, what happens with the information that I put in? So you have my email address. I think you might have some other data. That's one question. Then subsequent question to that, as I was looking in the agreement, I don't think the city owns any of this information. So if I, as a resident, were to request a public records request on any and all information on this, would I be able to get that information, since I don't think the city is owning that information? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the information that is collected for people that sign up to receive the surveys and complete the surveys, that information becomes the property of Flashvote. So the city doesn't ever have access to it. It's never provided to us. And therefore it would not be a record that we would ever have to disclose. Really, the only thing that Flashvote is going to give to us is the results of the survey. Those are going to be on a website that's publicly accessible. So whatever you see, whatever staff sees, it's going to be on a website that's there for the entire public to look at as well. So all of that data is going to be there. I'm not quite sure how this will play out, but I think we'll have to have some caveats that say, you know, if you're filling out a long form answer that you don't want to give away any details, you know, that your 7-year-old son, Joe, lives on Harborview, that might, you know, reveal something like that. But there's the potential for that in a response to a survey. But that would be the extent of the concerns we see there. The data that they collect is encrypted. I'm reasonably assured that it's, you know, as safe as any other platform that uses those systems. So does that answer the question?
It does. And I think if I read in there that they will own that data even after, if after 3 years, we no longer want to contract with them, that they would own it, but it would be de-identified and it would be aggregate data only. So it wouldn't
Yes.
be able to. Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Barber.
Yes, thank you. I'm really excited about this. I think it gives us a wonderful way to reach out to the residents in our community as well as to our businesses. And in talking with City Administrator Knudsen, I liked the way it sounds to me like we will be able to segment the data so that if we have people sign up and identify that they own a business in Gig Harbor as well as being a resident, that we'll be able to segment them based on certain parameters. Is that correct?
I don't know about the business ownership one necessarily, but we will be able to locate people by address, and we can give them demographics by age group. So those two options will be there. One of the things we've talked about, like with the Crescent Creek Park survey, for example, we can get data that shows us what city residents think about that park, but it may be useful for us to think about what county residents think about that. And
Right.
specifically people that live on that side of the city that use the park frequently. So we'll be able to customize that part. As far as business ownership, I'm not sure if that's one of the filters that they'll have available for us, but we're excited to get in there and play around with it.
Yeah, I can see that it would be useful at times if that's something that we can insert in there, because I think sometimes our business owners might have a different opinion on things than our residents do, and it might play into deliberations at times. The other thing that I was wondering was, and I don't remember from what I looked at, do they have the ability, or do we have the ability to provide them with, say, a problem statement? And then these are the questions we want to ask you relative to that issue or problem. So could we establish that we've done a tree survey and these are the options that have come out of the tree survey, and then ask them what they feel about those options, that kind of thing? Or is it just a fairly simple, are you for or against something?
I don't see any reason why we couldn't be that complex in the questions that we ask. They are the survey experts, so we can come to them with that kind of an idea and they can tell us whether it's appropriate for the question that we want to ask or not. Most of the time, I think we'll rely on their expertise for that.
Right. Great. I can't wait to play with this.
Just want to support what Josh just said. So again, they are the folks that went to school for this and know how to ask questions in an unbiased way to get that feedback. And so we can give them, we're coming up with this park plan and key information that we want to know, and they craft the questions in a way to give us an unbiased answer.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Josh. That was good. I just want to make one small clarification. I think Councilmember Wook said $7,900 for 3 years. It's $7,900 per year for 3 years. So that, and maybe another question is, can you explain a little bit more about the 100 people? You're saying they select 100 people that sign up. Are they the same 100 people for all of the?
It's not limited to 100 people at all.
Oh, okay.
It's open to as many people as we want. What they explained to us is that 100 people is kind of their bare minimum baseline for a knowledge survey. At that point, you're looking at about 10% margin of error. And then for each 100 people you add on to that, it decreases the margin of error by another percent until you get to about 500 respondents, and then you're pretty much there. I don't think we'll have any trouble getting that many respondents.
Okay, thanks. And then the last question is, the 2 surveys that just went out on the urban forest management plan and the climate action plan. Yep. Were they from these folks? We haven't signed a contract yet. So that was
So we needed to get those 2 programs going right away, those 2 surveys. So those 2 surveys are unscientific surveys. They're out there for the community to fill out and get answers, and we'll rely on those to get some good feedback. But the results from those 2 surveys that are out there now shouldn't be considered the same way that this survey is. They're really not, there's no way with those surveys to restrict them to people who are, city residents, or they're really open to anyone who's motivated to talk about trees or talk about climate. So we'll get some good results out of that. We'll get some good feedback, but they're not scientific surveys.
okay. Thanks.
We will be, one of the first things we're going to do though is work with FlashVote and get some of those questions transferred over into a scientific survey. So we will get that data for you, hopefully really soon.
Great. Councilmember Storsett.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. All right. I'm turning my comment into more of a question, trying to. My concern is that, it's called FlashVote for one. I mean, it's just the brand, the name of the company. But I guess what I'm curious about is, I know we've talked about the unbiased questions, but while we're wanting the community to give us their feedback and kind of a bit of direction, what's important to them, I am concerned that it could be viewed as a true vote, and that what we receive back could look, and we decide to go a different direction, because these things are complicated and not, these questions I'm sure won't be all inclusive of everything that makes it, makes up our decision. So that, have you guys heard anything on that if any issues that have come of, I don't know, maybe something that seems like from the community, it's a 60-40 and then city council goes the other direction?
So that's one of the things they talked about with us, is we need to be able to present those results to the community in a way as making clear that this is not a vote. That was kind of one of my initial concerns, was the name of the company. FlashVote does kind of convey that. I think a big part of that will just be staff working with the survey makers to make sure we're not asking questions that are going to lead to an answer that we can't adopt, or a course that council can't take. And just, I think that's one of the things we'll need to make clear in the survey, is that, these are ideas that we're collecting, but it's not the end all of the discussion. This is still council's decision. This is just data to inform council's decision.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rodenberg.
Yes, I had a question. When we send out the survey and they're going to respond, where do they get their facts in order to make up their mind? Is that up to them to research the topic and find out themselves? Or do we have the duty to make sure they get all sides of a story or of an issue? Some are so complicated, they couldn't possibly get them all. So where do they get their information in which to make a decision?
That's going to be one of the challenges of this survey platform. We will need to be sure when we're asking questions that when it goes out there, that it's something that the general public is going to be able to comment on. If we're sending out questions that are more complex that maybe people don't have an idea about, this platform is probably not going to be the right tool for that. So we are kind of going to use this survey platform to target people who have just a very general awareness about what's happening in the city. So I think if we're looking for more detailed information than that, this may not be the platform for that. The other option is we can use this platform to do really targeted surveys. So we can do a survey that's just for volleyball players to find out what they think about certain ideas or groups like that. So that's an option that we have, but it's not necessarily the best use of this platform.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Wood. Oh, sorry. Did you want to?
I was just going to add a little bit to that. So this isn't something that, it's not really an education tool so much as to, it would be asking people to rate things in order of importance or do you consider this a problem in the community currently? There is a limited opportunity for us to add something in there, of course, in an unbiased way. But this isn't something that we're looking at. This isn't an education tool. This is really a feedback tool. And so those things are really two different things. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. But the real utility of this, just utilizing perhaps the climate change survey that went out, and it'll be interesting to compare an unscientific one and the scientific one, is typically people respond to surveys when they're really wanting something or very much against it. And we know that in our community, we don't typically hear from all 14,000 people. And so it'll be very interesting to be able to see the segments of the community that we don't normally hear from. Whereas you might expect, if we say, how important is climate change to you? And people, for instance, in the survey that just went out, you may expect for it to be very high. Whereas in the scientific poll, it may come out more moderate or higher in certain areas of concern. So it really isn't a data point for council to consider in making decisions. And that is explained in the introductory video and in the materials that will be going out to the residents. That this is a data tool that the council can use.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Wook.
Yeah, thank you. So we're not planning on giving them a link or anything to city information on anything they might be asked.
That won't be part of the surveys that go out.
Oh, it will be.
It won't be, no.
Oh, it won't
So
be,
the-
okay.
The surveys will just ask the questions.
Okay,
The amount of background information, that's just going to be case by case. And we'll talk with the survey preparers about how much needs to be provided, but that is something we'll rely on the experts for.
okay, thank you.
And again, this is 1 minute. So do you have 1 minute to help the city? And so it's really not, again, the time for us to be educating them, although we can link to additional information. This is really the time to garner the feedback on a question of something that they've already either likely would know about or think. And again, it wouldn't be only the people that are interested in climate change take the climate change survey. As Josh mentioned, it would be a segment of all of the folks in our community that are answering this, and they won't, because we're doing it that way, it won't be one segment of the community over another that is more signed up in the system than anybody else.
Yeah, and in things that we've just, in conversations, we've talked about, putting it out in the Gigabyte on social media, letting people know, hey, we've got some surveys coming, maybe the week before we're going to put out a survey, do a little bit of education, let people know what the survey is going to be. Well, technically, not really, because then it wouldn't be scientific, but letting them know that there are surveys that they're going to have the option to fill out. And so people will at least know these are coming so that they're not surprised if there's a text message, if we choose to have it be by text or email, or there's multiple ways we can send these surveys out, whether it's postcard mailings, text messaging. But at least we can let them know that this is coming from the city, it's the legitimate survey, and they don't think it's spam. So that's kind of more so what we're going to let them know is that we like your feedback. This is coming from the city, and then they can sign up with however they want to sign up to receive those links.
And if I can just add to that a little bit too. So we will be recruiting people to sign up for this process, to take the surveys, but that will not be the only way we get people because Flashvote will also be reaching out to people by text message, just based on public data. They'll contact people that have text or phone lines that are registered here in the city. So they'll be reaching out to people that we may never even have ever heard from here at the city to see if they want to sign up to do that. So that'll be a big part of how we get people onboarded into this program as well.
Yeah. Let's see, I saw lights and then they went off. So let me go back to my agenda here. If I can find it. I will now open up the public comment on this agenda item only. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak tonight? And for our online audience, if you would like to comment on this agenda item, you can press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen or *9 on your phone. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public comment on this item and open it up for council deliberation. Councilmember Wook.
Thank you. I think this is a great thing and that our citizens are going to jump on board to be part of this. So I think it's pretty exciting that we're doing this in this community. And therefore, I move to authorize the mayor to sign the Flashvote Services order form for an initial 3-year service term.
Second.
Second.
Ooh, that was a tie. Did you catch who won that one? Likens or Barber? Likens?
Oh, come on.
Okay, I think it was Councilmember Likens. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other deliberation? I don't see lights. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, council. And moving right along to our second new business item is the first reading and adoption of ordinance 1510 related to compost procurement. And the suggested motion is to move to approve ordinance 1510. And this report comes to us from our Public Works Director, Jeff Langhelm.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hi,
Good evening, council. As was outlined in your agenda bill for this item, the ordinance is based off of state requirements to reduce methane from landfills by diverting organic matter from the landfills and instead producing organic compost. This compost would then be used in a jurisdiction's capital projects. We already use compost in many of our capital projects. Our stormwater manual that is about to be adopted, hopefully, also has very similar requirements to use composts as is outlined in the ordinance, which is landscaping, erosion control, soil amendments, and low impact development capital projects. The state law applies to the city of Gig Harbor because we have organic material collections from our waste collector and provided to city customers at least 26 weeks out of the year. Staff is requesting that this ordinance be adopted at first reading for a couple of reasons. First, the language in this ordinance is relatively simple, and also the language in this ordinance is required by state law and was supposed to be implemented at the beginning of 2023. So that's my report. Happy to answer any questions if you have any on this topic.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. This is good. Had a couple of questions, though. I was looking at it where the compost, I'll start again. Where the compost and when it shall be used, but there's a lot of not required to procure, use, or require the use of it if, and then there's a whole mess of things. Do you think, like, for instance, one of them was available compost products do not comply with existing purchasing standards? We don't have anything that would prevent us purchasing that, right, in our city codes?
It could be the only thing that could prohibit it is if the bids came in. I mean, if we had to go out to bid for this and it required us, the bids came in at the high end compared to something that was different, that was at a lower cost.
Okay, we are using the compost though right now, is that correct?
We do, yeah, swales alongside of roadways, at landscaping areas, around planted materials that were just recently planted. Yeah, we use compost.
So do you think we're gonna have any problem finding, well, there was a priority to purchasing compost products from companies that, and then there's 3 things under there. In your experience, do we have enough companies around that we can get some competition?
Yes,
Oh,
I
good.
believe we
All
do.
right. All right, well, maybe some of this compost can be used to filter out 6 ppd quinone too. Thanks.
Great, thank you. I don't see any other lights on, so I will open up public comment on this agenda item only. If there's anyone that wishes to speak in our online audience, you can raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or *9 on your phone. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and I'll open it up for council deliberation. Councilmember Likens,
I move to approve ordinance 1510 related to compost procurement.
I'll second it.
okay, great. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, council. I will now move to council reports and comments. If anyone has anything that they would like to share. Councilmember Wook.
Yes, I'd like to thank the wastewater treatment plant for opening their plant to visitors and now giving tours again. I remember before the pandemic, especially the New Neighbors group, the guys who belonged to that group used to come and go through there, and it was a very popular place for citizens to go. I'm wondering, as we get involved with our HOA, I think we were thinking about having an event for HOA groups, if that would be a good opportunity for the board members to take a tour through that. It might be meaningful to them to have that education. Anyway, it's a great place, and many people have talked about the tour through this treatment plant. So I'm glad to see that happen again. Thank you. And I also want to thank Chief Busey for the service agreement with the Uptown Animal Emergency Clinic. I did not know that until I read this, and then we had a chat tonight. And now the emergency clinic here on the emergency vet hospital here on Kimball is also involved. So it's nice to know that. I asked him how the word got out, and he said people just know. These are for domestic animals. And so what a great opportunity this is for folks who find perhaps a pet who's injured and they don't know who it belongs to. So good for you for bringing that back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Likens.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to let people know I'm involved with an organization called Minerva. It is a foundation that was founded in 1991, and it provides scholarships for women living within the Peninsula School District. And Minerva is the goddess of wisdom. And these ladies that have put this together and on this board, and I'm going to be joining them next month, have scholarships available. And right now there's scholarships for women in Gig Harbor. Applicants must live or work within the boundaries of the Peninsula School District and had at least 1 year interruption in their education. And this can be for anything from graduate school, undergraduate school, voc tech, technical training. They give out all kinds of scholarships. Last year, I want to say they award on average around $50,000 to $60,000 to local women. I know that there are local leaders who have received this scholarship, including our president of our Gig Harbor branch of Tacoma Community College and several nurses that work at St. Anthony's. So I'm going to provide this to Shannon that she can spread to our staff. And the applications are due April 15th. And I'm going to send some information to the mayor to hopefully include also in the Gigabyte. So it's really exciting. I'm thrilled to be a part of this. And opportunity. So thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. I saw, oh yeah, Councilmember Dorset.
It's a new volunteer organization.
We moved that to the consent agenda because we realized it didn't have to be, yeah. Well, and honestly, I had not changed the rest of my packet, so if you saw me shuffling madly, it's because I hadn't changed the rest of it. So yes, yes, you are very welcome.
And it's going to be a regular class.
Councilmember Rodenberg.
Yes, I have a couple things. One, I wanted to thank the Gig Harbor Food Project. It's a new organization and they just donated over 2,000 pounds of food to Gig Harbor Peninsula Fish Food Bank. So that was a great and desired donation. So thanks to them.
Check the website.
And you can check their website, the Gig Harbor Food Project, if you wanted to get more involved or donate yourselves. Secondly, as the city's liaison to the Board of Directors of the Cities Program, I attended the Board of Directors meeting last week. And this program is in its fledgling steps, meaning that we just approved our bylaws, just approved the funding for this city to pay their dues to belong to the Sister City International. And I know that Mayor Markley and Dave Rodenbach had sent in that check, so we're paid up to date. The letters of incorporation have been filed. So in no time, we will have a bank account and this council can think further about other funding options. The two cities, as you all know, the city in Gouda, Norway, that program is long quite a bit. We've been working on that. They've been working on that a couple of years and it's well established. But where we want to take some initial steps and get another sister city is in Croatia. And the mayor has been in contact with the mayor in Brock and have set a letter of intent. And I think maybe by now a letter of introduction. So that'll be coming along as well. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that both of those programs are moving smoothly. And as we progress, I'll update everyone.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're excited about our sister city opportunities and looking forward to seeing what Croatia has to say about joining up with us. So I don't see any other lights on, so I will entertain, announcement of upcoming meetings we have attached to the agenda, as well as our strategic plan, which you may see some changes to in the future, but currently still to our 2022-2023 plan. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All right, everybody, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.